What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel and some more Birthright coverage here for all things D&D. So again, one of the classic second ed settings, and we've again spent quite a bit of time covering all the different domains of the sort of main Anweir setting, and we've touched previously on one of the characters here, the Imperial Chamberlain, but we are moving on with the characters that are presented here as part of the main books, and some of the more notable rulers or other just interesting NPCs that are out there in the game, and certainly some that you'll have to deal with. So the next two that we'll be covering here, so specifically today we'll cover Aeric Boeruine, but then we'll move on to Darian Avan, and these two really are kind of like the two principal players, biggest contenders for the Iron Throne right now, and as you can see from their stats, levels and things like that, and also equipment, again, just very formidable people in their own right should they be encountered in some sort of adventure, or maybe finding yourself across them on the battlefield. So Aeric Boeruine is again one of the two powerhouse realms here, so the domain of the same name, which we've covered again in the western coastal domains. Stat wise, as you can see, very formidable. I mean, his lowest stat is a 13, and that's in wisdom, and everything else is pretty solid. So lawful neutral, very high armor class. Again, this is second ed, so don't be confused by the -3. 100 hit points. Very, again, this guy's a beast. Thaco doesn't exist anymore, but attacks basically 3/2. So might want to update that depending on how you choose to bring that into your campaign. But he definitely is again a beast in combat. Damage wise, 2d4 plus 8. And again, some things from second ed obviously need to be brought up into 5th edition if you're running this setting in 5th versus classic second ed rules as well. But as far as specifically Birthright things go, right, very solid bloodline here, actually major bloodline, not just because it says major, but very, very high up there. So one of the highest overall for Endurance. Special abilities here, Blood Mark, and we'll have a whole separate series of videos covering the blood abilities, the core blood abilities, which in this case is his streak of red hair. Battle-wise, Divine Aura, which is a major ability, and Resistance as well, another great ability. So equipment-wise, again, and this is Birthright is overall a very low magic setting, so when you see things that are like this high level, it's pretty special in the campaign and the setting. So he carries Kingsbane, a bastard sword, +4, and wears a suit of field plate mail +4 as well. So just, again, very great offense, very well taken care of defensively. Doesn't list any other magic items, but again, DM should make him suitably well protected in that regard. So he's tough, middle-aged, and comes from a bloodline of power, but his cruelty and hostility have made his path to the Iron Throne rougher than he'd like. And again, we've covered that relation, that attitude, not just for his domain, but obviously the neighboring domains, whether they're allied or against him, worth knowing that personality of his. And players should definitely be obviously wary when engaging him in any kind of diplomacy or politics as well, and know what they're getting into. So raised as nobility, he never even questioned his right to power. So this guy's an authoritarian ruler, but I wouldn't go as far as dictator. Instead, he has learned to rely on this right and will fight to ensure that nobility remains nobility. After all, a peasant can never learn the ways of the ruling class. This attitude on of the Archduke's explains why the Chamberlain, so again, the Imperial Chamberlain, firmly stands opposed to his bid for the Iron Throne. So he really doesn't have any supporters in the Imperial City as far as his claims to the throne. That's basically his biggest obstacle as well. So in that sense, he can be his sort of own worst enemy in that regard. The Archduke truly believes that laws provide the solution to all the Empire's problems, and his laws, of course, would suit best. Suit Anweir best, of course. If needed, he will invade other realms, right? If needed, yeah. He'll invade other realms to implement his laws, but he knows that he must tread carefully. If enough regions oppose him, he'll eventually lose his chance at the Iron Throne, which at this point, his chance at the Iron Throne would be through force, not because of any great love for him. And really, as long as Avenil stands as a equal power, essentially, he really doesn't have a path to the Iron Throne, but nonetheless should not be underestimated, and is again very formidable, and one of the top 3 realms as far as like available armies go. So definitely a very powerful figure. And again, between him and Yvonne, they're like essentially the two biggest contenders for the Iron Throne. That being said, again, Boeruine does not have any support from the Chamberlain at all. So any real look towards gaining the Iron Throne would have to be through just outright military conquest, and that might not sit well with all the different realms that might have something to say about that. So overall, still a fun character though, especially when played right via the DM, and just again a powerhouse that would have to be dealt with, whether you're playing Birthright again as the at the domain level, running domains and having to interact with him. So whether you choose to ally with Boeruine or oppose him, either way, again, not someone to be taken lightly. And again, we'll you want to approach him on some sort of level of power as well. So I mean, if otherwise this guy would just simply dominate any kind of like political relationship or alliance as well. But again, individually too. So if you're looking to somehow engage him in combat or something like that, just know obviously as a ruler of a country, he's got all kinds of resources available to him, but just one-on-one is a powerhouse as well. So again, for the DMs, a couple things should probably be tweaked and updated. So equipment wise, he's got, again, good magic here, good magic items, but probably should have a couple extra things here and there. Trinket wise, other magical items without going overboard. But stat wise, again, just an absolute beast. Great pool of hit points, and then should just be brought up into some of the maybe 5th ed abilities that fighters have at this point. So let us know, guys, in the comments if you have played Birthright with, again, either at the domain level and have had to interact with Boeruine. How has that gone in your campaigns? And also maybe adventuring wise, if you've encountered him, or even maybe has gone as far as try to like take him out, and how that's fared for you. So hit us up in the comments there, guys. Let us know your game experiences. Always love to hear your thoughts on and your experiences on Birthright, or just if you have any questions. Next up, we'll be covering Yvonne in the next video, and then we'll move on to some of the other personalities. So stay tuned. Thanks as always, guys. Like and subscribe, and we'll keep these coming out for you.